Hello, hi, riddle me this. What is the worst music production challenge you've seen on here? Maybe it is to make a song from a weird sound, maybe it is to combine totally unrelated genres. That's cool and all, but that sounds like too much fun. Instead, let's try making a song out of absolutely nothing together. I don't think an audio-related challenge can get any worse than that. So, let's set the rules. Rule number 1, I can choose to make any hard dance genre. Rule number 2, no serum. Rule number 3, serum effects are allowed. Rule number 4, no VST instruments or external audio samples or recordings. Rule number 5, resampling within the DAW is fair game. Rule number 6, it doesn't have to sound good but it cannot sound extremely bad. So we will have to try, somewhat.
Okay!
Here, I have already resampled silence into an audio track. I think our first step of this challenge is to make any sound in our DAW. If you've watched some of my older videos, you know that if we loop, shift, or EQ anything hard enough, we can craft it into almost any sound. So all we need is a spark to ignite our dumpster fire. So I put on this audio track 10 metal guitar amps, 64 OTTs, 64 hard clip saturators, and one really big EQ. Resample mode is on, and brace your ears. I was really hoping we could amplify the background noise of the track, but then I suddenly remembered that we don't live in the tape machine era anymore. You can't amplify the literal absence of audio signal. Well, for my next idea, I put every single audio effects I own onto the track and toggle them on and off super fast. I was hoping I would hear a pop sound when my computer freezes while loading in these effects, and nothing. Again, it is because of the lack of audio signal. My CPU is dying though, so that's cool. After that, I tried looking into DC offsetting, which I can't figure out, and I was gonna give up and work on something else. But then I remembered. VST trials. Here's how it would work. Some VST's trial version intentionally plays random bursts of noises to annoy you into paying or updating it to the full version. It so happens that I have this discontinued denoiser plugin. I knew it was making weird noises cause I found out the hard way a long while ago. So we will just press record and wait. And wait. Perfect. Now, if we loop this really fast and tune it, we can get a pitch, because all we need is a sound wave to repeat frequent enough for us to perceive a tone. Now, if we play a segment of this every 20-ish to 40-ish times per second, we can get a bass sound. And if we slap on a very narrow EQ band, we can get a sub. And if we take the original pitch and modulate it randomly with Ableton Shifter, we get noise. Now, I think we have enough sounds to make any, albeit not very good, hard dance song we can think of. For the genre, I'm thinking maybe uptempo, Frenchcore, UK hardcore. There are so many genres, so I would post this and come back in a few days.
One eternity later.
Okay, the people have spoken, and overwhelmingly we agree that uptempo is the easiest genre to make. You could argue that some other genres are even easier, but I already made Gabber in my last video, so yeah. If this is your first time hearing about the genre uptempo, I sincerely apologize on behalf of your eardrums. Reading the discussion, I saw people suggest scratch kick and zaag kicks, and even name drop some artists like GPF. And now we have to choose between microwave noise, more microwave noise, and good old pip kicks. Just kidding, we're gonna try to make something that sounds like neither of them all at once. So first I resampled and tuned the sounds we made into the F note, because F to A is usually the best frequency for sub-bass, which creates that thumping feeling you may experience when listening to music on powerful systems. Going too much above or below that range may cause the song to lose that feeling. Our kicks won't deviate from F because that will require a lot of sound design and I'm very lazy, so that's a win-win. Also, I use linear phase EQ to isolate the fundamental of the sub, putting it into a sample player. Pitching it up, we effectively have a sine wave we can use however we want, which is the key ingredient to kick sound design. Here you can see me do lots of trials and errors, mostly errors, and made some of the worst kicks I've ever made in my life. Man, I wish I could use serum. I wonder who set the stupid rules for this challenge. I'm gonna give him a good talking. Anyways, storage is running low, so I'll use the secret Ableton key combination to complete the track. So if we hold down every button on your numpad and then press this, and there we go. Okay, so for the kicks, I made something that sounds like a very tonal zaag kick, a microwave kick, a kick for transitioning, and a pip kick. This may look like a lot of sound design, but in reality, they are all just built from the same kick. and the differences are all just in the EQing and automation. I've already illustrated this specific kick creation process where you clip the same distortion units with treble and bass in an alternating and rhythmic manner. This is a more brute force method compared to the more surgical methods where we create the talk, the crunch, and the tail separately before stitching them together. The more surgical construction of the kick allows for better consistency and predictability, potentially avoiding phasing problems and unwelcomed artifacts. This is well suited for genres like euphoric hardstyle, raw style, or tracks where the consistency of each kick is super important. But for the more diabolical genres, we want specific artifacts such as the extremely EQ'd bass and reverb to carry on from the previous kick into the next one. This makes the kick sound different after the initial one. Here's a small demo. These are two saw waves made by the operator synth. One of them is a high-pitched note, and the other one is a really low-pitched note. So there's nothing special if we play them. But if we put the same huge EQ peak at the bass frequencies, the duration of them should be the same, right? Well, no, not really. If we isolate each of these sounds here and render them out, you can see this mysterious tail here. If we play them back to back, the tails will bleed into each other, creating one of the artifacts we might want. So EQing is very peak, pun intended. But you may ask, why are there these artifacts? EQing is supposed to change the amplitude, which means the volume of the frequencies within the sound. It should not have anything to do with the duration. Well, allow me to tell you how EQ actually works in terms of phasing and how we can take advantage of these post-ringing artifacts created by minimum phase EQs. Just kidding. It will be so boring we might both explode, but if you really want to know, read the description. Otherwise, just remember, a big funny peak in the minimum phase EQ results in the sounds not stopping immediately when they should. Now, about the kicks we made. This is 1.5 cycles of a sine wave to introduce additional harmonics, and this is a regular sine wave sub with volume automation. The difference between this microwave kick and this super microwave kick is the automation, and I also added a perfect fifth into the high frequencies. The differences between the pip kick and the microwave kick is that I put the peak of one of the EQs in the F6 to 7 range instead of the F4 range. Does it make every kick in here a pip kick? Well, maybe, but that's too bad. So now we have the kicks created, we just need to create some additional bits and bobs, then we can get the song. The first bit of bob is the cymbals and percussion. Surprisingly, they are really easy to make. Because if we high pass the noise and set up the correct envelope, also known as the ADSR, we are 90% of the way there. So now we add some OCT and reverb, then I could call them hi-hats. I'd say they are close enough. For the screech, I turn the noise we made into the sound you hear when you're at the dentist. I want it to be minimalistic and stay clear of the low end of the frequency spectrum, as the point of the uptempo kicks we created is to fill up the whole thing, so any low end conflicts would be very bad. We have to give additional attention regarding the frequencies not conflicting with the tonal punches of our kicks, if we have any. Another bit of bob is a sine sweep, which we can make by repurposing the sub we created for the kick. Now we can make its pitch bend upwards, and that's that. We have the kicks, we have the screech, we have some hi-hats, all created from technically silence. That should be enough stuff to assemble a really bad, potentially passable uptempo drop. But wouldn't it be funny if we also made vocals out of technically nothing? So, I'm not a linguist, I barely speak in general, but I found this really cool chart about formats. It explains how people hear vowels with just two fundamentals of a sound, also known as the first two sine waves that creates the audio you hear. This means, hypothetically, if we automate two sine waves well enough, we can chain vowels into words. For the lyrics, I was thinking maybe there's no audio as the pre-drop phrase. to fit into the long-lost theme of this video. If we convert it into Minecraft enchanting table, which uses alphabets to denote how words are literally pronounced, we can find these vowel things. Using Kiloheart's format plugin, which is basically 2 bands we can control on this panel, we can easily align the rhythmic burst of the noise we made with the vowels we see. And then we can add some little alto boy. I'd say close enough. You really do have to convince yourself that it is saying what I wanted to say, but whatever. I have dragged this video long enough, so I stacked many of my failed sound design attempts together to lead up to the drop. And let's hear the final product. Brace yourself. Okay, I guess that is enough. According to my statistics, most of you don't like pip kicks, but at the end of the day, I guess we still made something? Anyways, even if you hate uptempo, please like this video if you found this amusing. I really do want to know. Extremely niche music production topics like this won't garner much attention to my villainous agenda, but I do find stuff like this quite very mildly interesting, so 1 point I guess. But don't worry, next time we will return to the regular program and create objectively worse music together again. So hopefully I'll see you then.